All right. Welcome, everyone, to our Southwest Ranches Town Council meeting. Appreciate everybody being here. If we can please call the roll.
Certainly, Mayor. Mayor Bright Cruz.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hartman. Here. Councilmember Albritton.
Present.
Councilmember Jablonski.
Present.
Councilmember Kaczynski.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. If you'll please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I want to take a moment up front. We've actually had a number of losses in our town here recently. We had previously recognized the passing of Deborah Goff Rose, and I just wanted to announce that the women's group, and I really appreciate them doing this, is going to do a memorial, a tree planting on Wednesday, March 26th, starting at around 6 p.m. at the Rolling Oaks Barn. If you're able to go out there, if you knew Red and would like to participate, that would be awesome. We've also, just this past week, we lost two individuals that are very dear to our town, have been here for a very long time, and I want to recognize that. The first is Marie Nix. She has done so much for our town, giving all the time, opening up her home, opening up, just financially in every possible way, just a fantastic resident, always involved. And she passed away this week. And I was given this note from Renee Green, who is a very good friend of hers, and I'm going to read this. Marie Nix was born in the Bronx, New York, and moved to Carroll City when she was a child. She met her beloved Vern at Carroll City Elementary School, and they met again years later and became the Brady Bunch with 5 kids between them. Then, together, they had a 6th. Their love for one another was limitless until the end. She passed away with her family and friends surrounding her with love on this past Tuesday night. Marie and Vern moved to their warm and welcoming home on Thoroughbred Lane over 20 years ago. They opened their home to so many different campaigns, educators, organizations, committees, and friends. Marie loved hosting and entertaining and was the consummate hostess. She also opened her heart by supporting charities and nonprofits and a variety of causes, Women in Distress, her church, the Temple, the American Cancer Society, and many more. Marie loved her town of Southwest Ranches. She absolutely did. She lived the ranch's life, loving her many animals, which are only possible in the ranches. Her love for the town's beauty and the open spaces led her to the Parks Board, where she was a natural fit. She befriended Astor Knight, and he was quick to put her to work in her beloved town. Marie also worked on bingo and several other fundraisers for the town every year. Every year. She made raffle baskets, collected gift cards and coupons, and physically set up, broke down, and greeted guests with her infectious smile and glowing light, which she shined on everyone in her presence. Her legacy, of course, in Southwest Ranches is that just over a year ago, Marie actualized her dream of several years for the town by gathering together a group of strong women to support her founding of the Southwest Ranches Women's Group. That's that same group that's going to be doing the memorial, which meets monthly for the neighbors to become friends, to enjoy each other's company and support causes and projects in our town. Everyone that met Marie loved her and wanted to be in her company. She lived life fully and blessed all with her spiritual and loving presence. Her gifts to Southwest Ranches helped make it a better place for all of us to live in. Marie will truly be missed by her neighbors and friends. She will always be remembered for her beauty glowing from within and her loving and giving heart. May she rest in power. Thank you, Renee, for writing that. I'd like to take a moment of silence. Thank you. We certainly remember the family, Vern and the family, during this time. We also lost another one of our longtime residents as well this past week. Astor Knight, who was mentioned in the previous note, was one of the very first council members on this council. And the reason why he was on this council was because he was very involved before we even had a council. And we had many an event at his home, him and Bertie's home in Rolling Oaks, and another individual that was so giving in every way. And he would always open his home. He was such a level-headed, always just looking for what's best for the town. Never putting himself first, but putting the town first always. And even after they sold the home and he had to move away, he still came back very often. And while he was here, he created the Parks Foundation, which is alive and well and doing tremendous work, and will continue to do tremendous work both for our town and in his name. There are very few people that come along that have the impact that Astor had, and had such a positive and selfless view on the town. And so he will be greatly missed. Our thoughts and prayers go to his family, and I'd like to have a moment of silence for Astor as well. Thank you. Okay, it's been a rough week, but we are a strong town, and we appreciate all that have gone before us and all they have given for us, and our job and our legacy is to continue those things for the next generation. The next item on our agenda is a proclamation for Arbor Day. We are obviously very big in the town of Southwest Ranches for open spaces and trees and animals and all that. So Arbor Day is very much in line with us. So I'm just going to read through this proclamation. Whereas Arbor Day is observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas annually the state of Florida celebrates Arbor Day on the third Friday in January, and whereas annually the United States of America celebrates Arbor Day as the last Friday in April, and whereas in accordance with the policies and goals of the Town of Southwest Ranches Comprehensive Plan adopted in May 8, 2003, the town sets forth measurable objectives for the protection and enhancement of critical ecological systems integral to South Florida and the town's natural environment, including the maintenance and improvement of air quality by increasing tree coverage in the town and by meeting the standards to become recognized by the National Arbor Day Foundation as a Tree City USA. And whereas in 2007, Southwest Ranches was recognized as a Tree City USA, and whereas the town of Southwest Ranches has continued to meet all standards and requirements for continuing this designation as Tree City USA, and will be recognized in 2025 for its 19th consecutive year. Well, we've been here 25 years, so that's pretty darn good. And whereas trees reduce the erosion of topsoil, cut heating, cooling costs, moderate temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide a habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees in our city increase the property values, enhance the economic vitality and the business areas, and beautify our community, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches that annually on the third Friday of January shall be recognized as Arbor Day in the Town of Southwest Ranches. Further, the council urges all citizens to celebrate Southwest Ranches and National Arbor Day, to support efforts to protect our tree resources and to plant trees to gladden the heart, promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this day, the 13th of February, 2025. It is an honor to have Arbor Day here, and I also want to add that we have a Water Matters coming up, and I know my yard has many many trees that originated in Water Matters, and then you go through this process, and you get to bring home some native trees and plant them in your yard, and some of those little sprigs that I got many years ago are now 40, 50 feet tall. And so I would encourage you to check out Water Matters in March and enjoy that as well. It definitely is aligned with our town. All right, with that, let's go into public comment. We have public comment this evening.
Sorry, Mayor. Yes, we do. We have 4 speakers on non-agenda items. If you put in a card for an agenda item, I pulled you out because the way it works, you have to speak on that agenda item. The first will be the Sikh Youth Association, followed by Anna Ponacek, and I pronounced it wrong. I apologize.
Good evening to all the town council members, residents of Southwest Ranches, and attendees. As you may know, the 7th Annual Unity and Diversity 5K Run/Walk is coming up on Saturday, April 5th at the Rolling Oaks Park in Southwest Ranches. Preparations are in full swing, and we will be at the Farmers Market this Saturday to promote the 5K. We would like to thank the town for their continuous support throughout the 6 years that we've been doing the 5K. To make the event bigger and better this year, we will also be using the Prime Events app, which is a platform which will centralize everything for event management and volunteer management as well.
As always, the funds gathered from this 5K will go towards the town's college scholarship fund. That's why we encourage you to invite your family and friends for a fun-filled day that supports our cause. Registration can be done through swr5k.primeevents.com. And we currently have a Valentine's Day special going on until this Saturday. So make sure to register and let everyone know. We hope to see you on April 5th. Thank you.
Awesome event. Thank you all for all you do to make that happen each year. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Anna? Followed by Lazaro Padron, and then final speaker is Tracy Swait.
Good evening, everyone. Dear Mayor, dear Mayor, dear council members, dear neighbors. My husband and I are new to the Southwest Ranches community, and we love the town and we love the rural lifestyle. I am here today because I am concerned. I am concerned about the safety of our well water. As you all know, FPL is working in Southwest Ranches community to put underground the electrical lines, which is a significant improvement. They are using a method called horizontal directional drilling, or HDD for short. However, the information, they send the information leaflet to the homeowners. However, the information in the leaflet does not mention the possibly toxic chemicals used in the process and the availability of a safer alternative. Horizontal directional drilling is a drilling method that has the potential to contaminate groundwater and surface water with pollutants including heavy metals, organic compounds, and potentially carcinogenic substances through the use of chemical lubricant for the drill, which is often referred as mud. This method could pose a greater risk to our Southwest Ranches community because we rely on well water for our drinking water. I submitted references which outline some of the well-documented potential risks. The alternative to the HDD is known as missile boring, and this is a much safer option that is using compressed air as a way of advancing the drill. When I raised the issue with the FPL representative, the company offered to me use of missile boring, which is the safe method on my property, suggesting that this option is feasible. However, it is not being offered proactively to all homeowners. Although FPL claims that they have discussed the project extensively with the Council of Southwest Ranches, when I asked them some specific questions, the representative could not give me any clear answers. Let me ask you those questions. Did FPL inform the council about the potential risks of horizontal directional drilling, or HDD? Number 2, was the composition of the mud that is used for drilling reviewed and approved by the council to ensure that it does not contain heavy metals or other harmful pollutants? Number 3, is the composition of the mud part of the permit application? Number 4, was a mitigation plan discussed and approved to prevent and address situation when the mud escapes into surrounding ground, surface water, or potentially groundwater, which is called inadvertent returns? Number 5, how is the mud being disposed of? Number 6, is proper disposal included in the permitting process? Number 7, can Southwest Ranches residents review those documents to understand the risks associated, and what is the oversight measure? And number 8, for the eastern part of Southwest Ranches, where the permit has not yet been issued, will the council consider requiring missile boring instead of HDD, considering the many questions and concerns regarding the safety? I know that in majority of Southwest Ranches, the work already has been completed, and some of you may think that reviewing that information now is probably not important and would not matter anymore. However, I'll argue that it matters a lot. It can matter in 2 ways. Reviewing the information can prove that the safety is there and assurance to the community that the well water is safe, or in the worst case scenario, allows us to mitigate the contamination and prevent human harm. That's all I have. I will be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Padron? And then final speaker.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Lazaro Padron, Muniz Lazaro Padron. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be in this town. But the reason I'm here tonight is because the town has permit for all kind of animals. I love the animals. But the reason is about the roosters. I live next to a neighbor 30 feet away from my master bedroom on the fence right there, and my neighbor has 4 or 5 roosters, and every time rooster, one is lower to one, he bring more. I would like to ask the town of Southwest Ranches to change the code at least 150 feet away from the neighbor, the roosters, because I'm 30 feet away from the property line, and my master bedrooms is facing his patio. Conclusion, every day I wake up between 3:30. The roosters, when the moon is out, they start singing. Sometime at 2 o'clock in the morning. Right now, I'm not working in the road, and I'm doing local. I'm a truck driver and a bus driver. I have all the license, and by law, I have to sleep 8 hours, 10 hours. Right now, I'm not doing driving, but every day between 3, starting at 2:30 in the morning, I'm waking up because 4 roosters wake me up. Keeping in mind that in town of Southwest Ranches is not allowed to have noise from 7 in the nighttime to 7 in the morning. I would like to ask the Southwest Ranches, please, if you guys can do something for the roosters, at least 100 feet or 150 feet away from the property line. Because I love the town, but the roosters it's waking me up, and I'm speaking to everybody because as soon as one sings in the whole town, all of them start singing. And again, I love the Sour Ranches town, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Final
Appreciate it.
speaker is Tracy Swait.
Okay, I'm testing. Good evening. Okay, I handed out a copy of Ralph Bellman's agreement that he submitted, and it's the agreement with an outside non-resident known as the Cioli Group LLC that's using our sanctuary park as town's community farmers market for commercial business. Ralph is now amending the rent amount to $350 daily use. That's the same as residents would pay for a small birthday party at a park. Not this low, $150 or just now $175 for 3 years rent. Ralph's challenge doubles the insurance, and I think it should even be more, and not minimum insurance. He is a resident here. He's been here longer than you guys have been up there. Our town is financing a private for-profit commercial business, giving them our tax dollars and tying up tax-paid land for cheap to perform for their profit vending business. And our town has a loss so far, and that is not what I call successful. Ralph does not need our town tax money for toilets. No need for written resident complaints. Only one resident is using the spot out there. That indicates a problem. The town does not make any money on vendors, so it will not matter if there's one vendor or 1,000 vendors. What does matter is the resident vendors. Like Bob Hartman said, should have came first. But it does not happen. When an outside company rather have an outside vendors that are going to pay more instead of our residents, well, they'll get harassed, they'll get denied, they'll get limited to sell, or even create arguments to make them leave, including our small farmers like myself. There should be no negative excuses, such as residents do not have time to sit there all day. Well, who made that up anyways? I mean, Ralph has no issue with residents packing their tables, walking to the car, they can leave early. And I'd like to know a little bit from Keith, maybe you can help with this. It never went to bid, nor did it go to bid when it was renewed in November. So does the language in the agreement, quote, may be terminated for inconvenience by the town, unquote, does that mean it is not being operated as intended in the agreement, which is happening, or the town has and is still financing an LLC and losing money tying up prime land, or a better agreement now has been challenged? And two, how many breaches of the agreement are needed before we stop anything? And I got proof of those. Okay, so legal or not, this LLC agreement does not appear kosher. Due diligence in law or in business, it's easy to vote. It's that simple. You can vote for a seagull to eat Alka-Seltzer, but does it make it right? Happy residents are going to make happy voters. Now, Ralph Bellman, he is going to pay for the proper number of toilets, allow residents and other organizations for free. And we're going to set up that vending agreement that the town can go over so that we don't have confusions or unfairness or harassment in any shape, way, or form. That's got to be really noted, is those vendor agreements. There's nothing between the town and the people who are paying. So I think that's important. And he wants to immediately bond any loss that the town has incurred over this. This way we will not be in debt. And we'd like to do some shows a few times a year, be it a poultry show, farm animal show, yard sales as well.
Tracy,
Something.
I'm going to give you one more minute. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, the town deciding to lower expenses that, so that we're not giving so much to this company, but by having just one toilet, which cannot cover 50 vending booths, that's 100 people per one toilet. And I think, and that's not even including the attendees. So we need to have more, and that's something we will provide. We see a bigger, brighter, better community marketplace for our town that's really going to get the residents involved. Okay. So, well, anyways, I care about you guys up there. I love you, and happy Valentine's. And don't forget, get her something expensive this year. Get her eggs.
Thanks, Tracy. All right. Board reports.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman. And regarding board report for Zero Waste Advisory, we had a meeting on January 7th, it's February 7th, I say. And we spent a good majority of that meeting talking about the consultant and the RFP process, working with procurement and Dan and Russell's team. And so I think we made a lot of progress on defining those requirements and the scope. And so I'd like to just continue to ask the board to help keep that a priority so that we can move that along, so we can bring in the outside consultant in terms of helping for us to execute on the strategy and mapping on that. So keep a lookout for that and support Russell and his team, procurement, keep that a priority, please. In addition to that, we talked about a couple different things. We talked about engaging as our mission for the advisory board to continue to engage, educate, create excitement and awareness for zero waste advisory, whether it be recycling and such. So we talked about different kinds of events and activities. One of those which we discussed was having a visit to the recycling. I know we're going to be having Mr. Hartman, Councilman Hartman, setting up one on March 20th. That can be part of it. We can do another one. We're not limited to that. There are some constraints, though. I think there's up to 15 people that can attend, and so I think having multiple of those, seeing is believing, I think that's going to be an important part of what we want to do and continue to do, so stay tuned to more on that. And we're looking to do something kind of a big bang, something along those lines, so we'll be talking about that and reporting along those lines as well. We'll continue to get the word out in the newsletter, so keep a lookout for that, and look to do some more where we have some synergies going on with the task force, where there's some awareness going on, and try to bring some of that together so those things are working in unison. So hopefully that will become more seamless as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold. Appreciate your work and the work of the whole team there. Also want to remember Richard, who's in the hospital. Just look for a speedy recovery from him. Any other board reports this evening? Seeing none, board reports closed. Council member comments.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay. Go for it. You got it.
Bob, I don't know. Bob looked like Bob was
You
going
want to go first, Bob?
No, of course
No.
not. I couldn't.
All yours.
No, I'm
Gary.
just going to give a few announcements and then I'll have some comments. First off, thank you everybody for coming. We really do appreciate it out in the audience, and we do appreciate the feedback we get in public comment. Believe it or not, we do pay attention and we do listen and we do read things that you give us. So just want to, emphasize that. Just let me list a few things that are coming up. We have a lot going on. Coming up this Saturday at the Equestrian Park starting at 8 a.m., 8 to 10 a.m. We have the fun horse show. It's a lot of fun to go to. I've gone every year and really enjoy it. Take
Yes,
pictures.
it is fantastic.
All the kids with the horses, and they all compete, and it's something to see. The FYI, the DMV Flowmobile is going to be here on the 28th. Make if you need to use their services, make an appointment with Deborah at the town hall, and she'll get you in there. Water Matters, as the Mayor mentioned, is on the 8th of March. I've gone many times. I have equally about a dozen trees growing that are now 30, 40 feet high.
Right.
All different kinds, and it's pretty interesting. When I look at it all, where each one came from, and they're going. We have our 25th anniversary. I say anniversary, 25th birthday party, our silver, coming up on the June 7th. And we have, now I had a piece of paper and now I've lost it. Oh, and we're going to have a parade starting at 10 o'clock in the morning in Rolling Oaks. And we have entries for I'm reading from a list, so please bear with me. Cars, golf carts, motorcycles, trucks are all welcome, no balloons. We have entry forms in the back for you to pick up, or you can contact Lori Morris to register the parade at lorimorris63@gmail.com, or contact Susan at Town Hall, and everybody can be registered for that. So if you have a classic car, a muscle car, a nice motorcycle, a boat, whatever you want, a really, really good lawnmower, that'll work. A wheelbarrow with somebody in it, that'll work too. Just you're gonna have to push it a little ways, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then I recall back when we first formed the town, I had a stack of pictures I was just looking at. I should have brought some tonight, and there's a bunch of pictures of Astor on the floats that each of us put together back in the year 2000. when we did that. So of course, I left him at home, so things happen. So anyway, the party's going to last all day at the barn. We have food, we have vendors, we have, there's a big chili fest going on, as I understand it. I will not be in part of it, but, so somebody else can win it this year and go from there. Moving along, we've got as the Sikh Youth Society mentioned, we have the 5K very easy to remember, 5K on the 5th of April at 6 a.m. at the Rolling Oaks Barn. It's a sanctioned 5K, so it's a true one for the organization that controls all the running and stuff like that, and run, walk, what have you. For me, it'd be a crawl probably this year. And but at any rate, it's for a good cause. It's for the scholarship fund, and sign up now. It's easy. 1, 2, 3. I signed up 2 weeks ago to get the early bird discount, which was nice, and stuff like that.
And I think there's a Valentine's Day discount underway right at this moment.
Yeah, but I didn't wait long enough.
All right.
Yeah,
Just if you're out there and you haven't signed up yet, you can.
yeah, get it now. Get it now. Let's see, on March 15th, we have the barn dance coming up for a fundraiser for the scholarship fund. Tickets are available here at Town Hall. There's still some tables available. The food is being supplied graciously, being donated by Outback. And it's going to be served by students and a lot of student volunteers. So it's a very, very fun evening. We have DJs. We have a bar. It does cost money to buy it, but you get a couple of beverages with your ticket. And it's next Saturday. Thank you, George. I just got messaged. Anyway, but I just want to mention that it's a lot of fun and everybody enjoys it. And there's still some open tables or seats, and it's I believe $50 a person, for that. The BCPA it's a Broward County public property appraiser, is here the first Tuesday of each month from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. They can answer all your questions concerning anything that has to do with the property appraiser's office. And they also have a agricultural liaison with them who can answer any ag questions that you may have. And on March 22nd, we have bingo for the Parks Board, the Astronaut Parks Board. And it'll be a great way to honor them, come to the bingo. Everybody has a lot of fun with that. And dinner is included. The tickets, I believe, are $25, $25, and includes a bingo card and dinner, and it's a fun night.
It's a fun
So everybody enjoys it. So that's on March 22nd. On March 12th and 19th, we have the Ranchers Academy. I'll leave that up to the mayor, so I'm not going to rain on your parade. Car show I've already talked about. And I'd like to say I'm deeply saddened by the passing of Astronaut, Marie Nix, and Debbie Goff-Rose. All three of them were my friends. I was fortunate enough to talk to Debbie a few days before she passed away, and more fortunate enough to have lunch with Astor over at my house several days before he went into the hospital. Him and his brother came over when he was down. It was, I didn't know that was going to be the last time I see him, but we had a great afternoon. As far as that. So I just want to mention that. Thoughts and prayers obviously are with the families, and it's going to be a big loss for our town. And there's two items I want to mention that have nothing to do with any of the stuff that I just mentioned. One is we're investigating a school bus stop on and improving it for the safety of the children on Dykes Road, and I'm going to pass that football over to Jim, who's been working on it with me, and not with me, but it's part of his traffic safety group, and he's got more information than I have on it. So I'm going to leave that up to him and go from there. The last item I want to talk about briefly, I'm just, at this point, it's just a talk phase. So I just don't let everybody get upset. I'm not going to make a motion or anything like that. I'm not going to. We have a lot of businesses moving into our town, and most of them are illegal. They are coming in, purchasing properties, 1 to 2 acre properties, buying a house, and they're setting up shop. And they usually have like a tenant that lives in the house, or they themselves. And it's usually involves trucking and things of that. It's non-ag type stuff, and it's anything from service stations to earth moving equipment to whatever. And it's I think it's something we need to look at in the future. I'm just opening up the conversation, so don't everybody have kittens up here, and also in the audience, but I'm opening up the conversation because I'm getting a lot of complaints from residents who live around there, and they want me to do something about it. And I explained to them, I'm not going to be the person who's going to be a complainant on that. You can go ahead and do that. And they declined to do that for fear of retaliation and things of that nature. So there is a remedy to it. I don't want to say the bad word right now, but I would like you all to think about it, and we'll bring it up in the future, and see if we can move forward with it, or if there's some way of some remedy that I haven't thought of, concerning that, because we're talking about heavy equipment being moved around at night, killing our roads. I mean, I've seen some really big stuff being done. We're also talking about in the Traffic and Safety Board on getting truck scales, the possibility of doing that and weighing the trucks that are overweight on our roads, which I'll let Jim take care of that at the same time. So, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Gary. Good stuff.
I'll go next.
Thank you, Bob.
Gary, I was just giving you the look of expectation. You always go first. I wouldn't break that pattern. Our 3 friends we lost, I got to just throw something out there real quick. Deborah Goff-Rose, a.k.a. Red, if you knew her, she was the life of wherever she stood at that particular moment. She was a really fun person. My kids know her since they were practically born because we'd go to Red's house to visit her animals. She had dwarf goats, she had horses, she had chickens, she had cats, dogs, and the list goes on. I mean, she had all kinds of critters. And, she was one of those people that she wasn't the kind of person to hold down a full-time job. Her last job was when they were building Weston. She worked for code enforcement, and I couldn't think of a nicer person to work for code enforcement. She could probably tell you you're doing the worst thing in the world, and you'd be smiling right back at her saying, yeah, that's just the kind of person she was. But she took care of our animals for years, and we knew she was probably ill because over the course of her last year, she lost a considerable amount of weight. But you ask her, Red, what's going on? I'm fine. Okay, good. I'm glad. But it came pretty suddenly. And I'm glad to see that we're going to spend some time celebrating her life. You want to hear an irony? The celebration for Deborah Goff-Rose was put together by Marie Nix. The next person I want to mention just for a moment. I know Marie for probably 15 years or so. I met her over at one of Dougie's famous Christmas parties where he'd show off his house and all that sort of stuff. I was talking to Vern, and it was the time when the Perez Art Museum was opening down on Bicentennial Park down in Miami. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but the week it opened, they had this art piece. It was an alligator that was swimming around Biscayne Bay that was about 90 feet long. It was on a barge made out of a backhoe, and that was Vern's backhoe and barge, so we had a lot to talk about. But there's something most of you probably don't know, because they were an extremely unpretentious couple. You wouldn't know what they had in life other than the richness of their family and those sorts of things. Pretty much every bridge you drive on that was built by FDOT, as in that big giant construction project at 595 and I-95 that's been going on for 5 or 6 years, look for V&M Erectors, Vern and Marie Erectors. Vern's company, Marie and Vern's company, built most of the bridges in the southeast United States, which, who can say that for any region of the United States? If you look for those trucks, they're everywhere because they've had an extraordinarily successful business. I've known Marie over the years. She's been a supporter, and as well, I did photography events for her for personal things that they did. So, outside of just my council exposure and my community exposure to her, I've gotten to know her pretty well, and she's a pretty amazing person, and we'll miss her. She's also, they're philanthropists as well, and that goes quietly as well. They give to causes that I think Steve mentioned in Renee Green's note, but there's I could go on because I've photographed some of those events. Astor. So when we were forming the town, we were having these meetings on how we wanted to organize the town. We knew we couldn't go hire a multitude like Fort Lauderdale or Hollywood or any of the big cities around us, so we were trying to figure out what contracts we needed to sign, how we wanted to deal with police, fire, and all that. Everybody kept saying, you need to meet Astor, you need to meet Astor. So finally, one day, Astor walks up to me and says, hi, I'm Astor Knight. Oh, hi, I'm Bob Hartman. I've been wanting to meet. We were friends ever since. People have lots of hats they wear. Most people don't know that Astor was a zoologist. Astor was responsible for the zoo in Jamaica when he came here. Got into different businesses, was involved in different things, but if you've ever been to his house, you'd know he was a family man. When you walk in his front door, there was this gigantic trophy case. Most of his kids, 5 of them, I believe, were involved in martial arts, and they were all high-ranking martial artists for this area, and there were trophies everywhere. And that kind of training got them all started early, and every one of them are professionals today. When we went up to Tallahassee a couple of years ago, we got to visit with Astor and his son, who is a college professor at FSU. When, earlier in the life, I met his other son, attorney. I believe one of his children is a doctor, and I don't know all their backgrounds, but they're all successful professionals today. And that's the kind of people Astor and Bertie were. They were there to make everybody's life better and everybody more successful. And I'll miss that man. I took that picture up there, and he's a part of my heart. He's a part of my family, and I just can't say enough good things about Astor Knight. So thank you for letting me indulge myself for a couple of minutes. You heard Harold talk about a trip we have planned to WM's Rooter recycling plant on it's 27 and Pembroke Road. It's something we've been doing more and more, getting over there, because people don't understand why they shouldn't recycle Publix garbage Publix bags you bring your stuff home in, or Walmart or anything. You go over there, you find out why. When those bags go through their plastic processing, they have to clean the machines every 4 hours because they gum up the works. You get quite an education on why recycling is so important and actually the best ways to do it. And the cool thing is, you see that stuff all being dumped from the recycling truck, and it'll blow you away how much garbage people send through recycling. But as it comes off the recycling trucks, how it goes into the various waste streams to process paper, cardboard, cans, whether they're metal or aluminum, and all the different waste streams. It's a very interesting thing. The other thing that you get an opportunity to see is WM is building a state-of-the-art recycling facility right next door on the same property. I believe it's supposed to open next year, and it's probably at least halfway done already. We'll get an update on what's going on there, but from what I understand, it's going to be the largest recycling facility in the United States, and from what I've heard from Barbara, our representative, they're going to be using AI and all types of technology to better sort through and do a better job of recycling what they can for us. So that is going to be on Thursday, March the 20th. If you're interested in joining us, that'll be from 10 to 11:30 in the morning. Please get in touch. As Harold said, we only have 15 spots. I have cards on the back table by the security guard. If you're interested in coming, just send me a text, give me a call, send me an email, however you want to communicate. We'd love to have you. Like I said, it's very interesting. I've been over there. I think this is my third trip coming, and I'm looking forward to it because there's always something new to learn about it and see how the process works. All right. Another item that's coming up is Earth Day. It's been going on since like 1966. I remember when I was in elementary school when they first started. It's being celebrated by the Broward Sierra Club at Ann Kolb Nature Center. It's on March the 23rd from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. They're going to have speakers on recycling, on the environment, on things we can all do to try to make our stay on this planet a little bit better. They've got videos. They're having a contest on the kids making art out of recyclables, so it should be pretty interesting. And also, they're going to have a number of experts there, but they're also going to have a panel discussion. And our own Richard Ramcharatar, who is the founder of Broward Clean Air, that's one of the groups that's trying to stop the incinerator and really continue that march, and with others as well. I know Richard's also been involved in trying to stop the idea of an incinerator in Miami-Dade County. So he'll be there as a speaker. When Richard first got involved, he was like the rest of us, willing to learn, and I would say he's getting close to expert status now with the amount of information, the amount of trainings he's been through. He's been going around the country on various recycling and zero waste conferences that occur, and this is on his dime. So he's really come up to speed. I know he's got a lot to say, so I'll be there on the 23rd of March to hear him and others. Water Matters Day was mentioned. December, correct me if I'm wrong, Saturday, March 8th, and it starts at about roughly 9 o'clock. Steve had mentioned what they do there to encourage you to get around and get information is everybody gets a card when they get there. And if you get, and I don't remember how many, but if you get so many stamps on that card by the various people there, they're very happy to talk to you. One of them will be December. We'll have a booth there like we do, or a display there like we do every year. And December does a heck of a job on that. You'll see pictures in the future town newsletter of ours. But anyway, if you get however many 10 or 15 stampers on there, they give you 2 native plants. Now, Gary said he's got some 30-foot trees in his yard. So do I. I got the trees to prove it. I have these palm trees that they gave us that were this big, and now they're probably as high as the wall. They're not fast growers like Royals, but they're beautiful. And I've got pigeon plums in my yard and Spanish poppers, and they only give out native plants. These are things that are from Florida that grow here that don't require a lot of care. That's the whole point of it. But the point behind Water Matters is to help all of us try to cherish the water we have, which is a more and more precious resource that obviously we have to protect. So that's Water Matters Day. And then they just left. The couple that was here to talk about South Florida, sorry? Anna, yeah. Russell, I had not heard anything about the fact that this stuff is potentially toxic, and there's an alternative that's non-toxic. I mean, FP&L knows we all live on wells. If we can reach out and get them to change their strategy, I will thank them forever. I mean, this is our water, and if there's heavy metals in the lubricant they use in the current method that they use, we can't afford that.
Yeah, I was going to address that under my comments.
Okay, very good. Gary, on the businesses, I'm hearing it too. I mean, we have one that's ruffling feathers all over the place. And you know something, folks? We've always lived with the mindset, live and let live. And our whole code enforcement strategy has been built around that. Live and let live there's 2 parts of that equation. My next door neighbor, I should allow him to live and vice versa, okay? But when the next door neighbor moves in, like one of the examples, with 18-wheelers and decides they're going to park them in their backyard, and they've got 6 18-wheelers that pull out at 4 o'clock in the morning, or a mulch maintenance company that basically I've driven past that place where they're firing up their trucks at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not live and let live. You know, there's a ton of businesses around town that pretty much go under the radar because they don't upset anybody. It's all about whether you upset the neighbors. We, as Gary said, we're not there to start, calling code enforcement on our neighbors. If you have an issue and it gets to be enough of a problem for you, then it's time to call code enforcement. And if there's a law in place, they're obliged to cover the law. So, Gary, I think the time has come. We need to talk about it again because the message needs to get out. I see it all over town. People are buying lots. They buy the house. They may or may not use the house, but all of a sudden there's something going on in their 2 acres that is really ticking off the neighborhood. And it's happening all over. I got a call this week. Russell and I were supposed to meet with somebody. That's all being postponed, but it's the same old story. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, folks. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Oh, Mayor,
thanks.
if I could interrupt just one second, just wanted to mention something that Debbie Goff never got a whole lot of credit for, and I just want to, it's an anecdotal thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Our original town hall, the trailers,
That's right.
she was the one that procured those from Arvida, because that's who she worked for, and they had, when they were building Weston, and they were going to throw them away, they were going to send them to the dump, and she was able to salvage 6 of them, and we put them all together, and we built the town hall by combining them all. But it was all because of her efforts that we got the material to do it. Just something anecdotal.
That's interesting. Yeah, I remember putting them together, but I didn't know where they came from. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Everybody who knew Debbie's got a story about her.
Yep.
She was that kind of fun person. Red.
Yeah.
Not Debbie, Red.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, folks. David Kaczynski, District 4. Let me begin. When we get ordinances to vote on up here, and they come up there and everything seems like everything's drafted and there's not much negotiations. Well, there's a reason behind that, because town has advisory boards, and those advisory boards do the nuts and bolts discussions. They're made of volunteer residents, and council either appoints a member at large or each council member has an appointee on the board. We have the Zero Waste Advisory Board. We have the Rural Public Arts Advisory Board, Parks Board, Fire Advisory Board, Comp Plan Advisory Board, Schools and Education, Drainage and Infrastructure, and the Traffic and Safety. Each of those boards has appointees from us, and then there's a few that are at large. At the most recent Rural Arts Advisory Board, a resident from Sunshine Ranches, Alina Amaral, expressed an interest to become a member of that board. Since my appointee, I'm filled with appointee, everybody has an appointee, I'd like to ask the council to approve an at-large member of Alina Amaral to the Rural Arts Advisory Board as an at-large member. So,
You want me to make a motion?
go ahead,
I'd like to make a motion that Alina Amaral
Amaral.
be appointed as an there you are in the back.
There she is.
Be appointed as an at-large appointee or board member to the Rural Arts Advisory Board.
In a second?
Second.
There you go. All right, I think it's an awesome idea. Appreciate it. Any discussion on that? Any concerns? All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. All right, congratulations, congratulations. All right, next I agree, Bob, with the issue with Anna about the boring. That's a real big concern. She actually reached out to me and I forwarded the information to Russell. You took my thunder, that's fine. Good for you. It's an important issue though. All right, so that's done. All right, next, it's been a few months since I have given a traffic report because there were some issues behind the scenes. Nothing yet, we just got some issues behind the scenes. So before I get there, I get complaints in Sunshine Ranches. That's predominantly my district, so I get the complaints from my residents there of people that are speeding. And some of these folks will actually go so far as to identify the vehicle. I did that. I received a text a few days ago about a black Dodge pickup truck that was speeding on Holity. I passed it on to Russell. Russell activated Davie Police on the issue, and today that truck was pulled over and given a citation for 47 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. So hopefully he gets a message. I'm expecting, like Jim said, 3. It'll take 3 of them to actually get the message. So the town-wide traffic enforcement from September 24th through January 25th. Here are the traffic reports. District 1, 14 citations were issued, 5 of those were speeding. District 2, 16 citations written, 6 of those were speeding, and 2 of those speeding were on 178th. All the rest of them were on Griffin. District 3, hey Jim, I think your district is really picking up, getting close to Sunshine Ranches, all right? You're trying. All right, 56 citations issued, 31 of those were speeding, and 25 on the interior roads. There was actually one person that was cited for 50 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Over.
Wow. District 4, Sunshine Ranches, 70 citations issued. Of those 70, 41 were for speeding. And of those 41, 23 were actually on interior roads. And that's where we want to have the enforcement. I really give big kudos to Davie Police. Thank you so much for doing this. This is what we want. Slow the drivers down. And the big reason that I feel a concern for speeding is back in 2017, I was walking my dogs. I walk my dogs twice a day, and people see me all the time. Stop, say hi. And I turned from Holity onto Lou Ray, heading west, and I saw this car coming toward me, speeding. At that same time, and it was February of 2017, at that same time, there were 2 dogs that were smelling garbage cans across the street from where they belonged. They belonged to East Wind Stables. The Boston Terrier ran across the street before the car came. It was the Chihuahua that was not paying attention and came later. Well, that Chihuahua decided to go across the road just as that car was coming across. The car was going too fast, slammed on his brakes, went too fast, ran over the little dog. I heard the dog scream a scream that terrorizes me to this day. The little dog's front legs were broken from the accident, and they ended up having to put the dog to sleep. So that's why I'm in concern about speeding. Our animals are important. It doesn't matter whether it's a domestic or wildlife. I've heard stories of people just mulling over the ducks on Mustang Trail over by the Parker's house. I hear about this, and it just, like, what can drive somebody to do that? It just hurts me. That's the traffic report. In those boxes over there are some more of those speed signs. As you drive by, they flash your speed up. Sunshine Ranches is going to be putting up 4 of these, and I want to thank Gary once again for donating one of your signs to us. Thank you. You're going to see signs going up on Sterling, facing east between Melaleuca and Holity. On Holity, the north side of Holity. I live on the south side, but Chrissy said, let's do it on the north side. There will be one on Appaloosa, and there will be one on East Palomino. There have been reports that these signs actually do let people enforce the speeding and help people slow down. So I'm hoping that this will help slow down the vehicles. All right, when folks move out here, we're not a city, we're not a big city. We have the culture of farms and horses, roosters, cows, horses, goats. Cows, the manure makes a smell. We have to live with it. The horses have the manure, it makes a smell. The goats, obviously, a smell again. Roosters crow. You come here, this is what we are. if there's ever a resolution brought up or an ordinance brought up here to restrict roosters and how far they can be from a home, I'm a no vote on that. Count on it. Because I protect our farming lifestyle. That's what our lifestyle is about. And I'm 100% certain that folks that want to live here wouldn't mind our farming culture. Now, I feel the same sadness as my other colleagues are with the loss of Deborah Goff-Rose and Astor and Marie. It's really, I mean, these people touched me. Deborah called me up one day that the shirt that I gave her got a stain on it or something. She says, "Can I have another shirt? I'll even pay for it." I says, "No, don't worry about it." So I drove over to Robin Ditzian's home, where she was, handed her the shirt. That was 2 days before she passed. That was really, 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 I mean, it hits my heart. Astor, he's done so much for our town. I'm friends with his son, Steve, and we communicate because he's an attorney and he does personal injury. I do personal injury, so we got some ideas that we do kind of the same. Marie, she was a special one to me. We actually had a conversation last week. I was looking through my phone messages and I saw that we had a conversation last week. To me, Marie was the brightest star in the night sky. She led forming the Women's Club. She was kind enough to let me hold my campaign fundraiser at her home. It was a beautiful place. She was my appointee on the Parks Board, and she missed some meetings, and she told me, "David, I'm missing these meetings. Do you want me just to resign because I'm missing meetings?" I said, "Are you interested in serving?" She says, "Yes." I says, "You're my appointee. If somebody has a complaint about you missing a meeting, come see me because you're my appointee." I didn't hear one complaint. I know many, many, many friends that I've spoke with, and there are many that are numb with her loss. There are some that are in disbelief. We're all sad. You know, Chrissy Brownlow, Debbie Green, Erica Shapiro, Debbie Eaton, Renee Green, Susan and Warren Pearl, Robin Ditzian, Robin Bartleman. When I told her about it, she was at a party and she had to leave the party because she was so upset. And even Debbie Wasserman Schultz knew Marie, and she's just very, very sad. Marie knew everyone and opened her heart to everyone. She was kind, she was always smiling, and she always looked amazing. I've tried to speak with her daughter Rachel is a friend of mine, and she still is not in a condition to talk. So I just want to say, when you leave tonight, take a look up in the sky and look at that bright star. That's our Marie looking down at us. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Jim.
Thank you, Mayor. I know, would like to offer my condolences to the Debbie Goff family, to Astor Knight, and to Marie Nix's family. I probably had the last picture taken of Debbie Rose Goff. As David mentioned, he gave her a shirt. Probably a day before that, there was a bunco party. I think there were 18 women involved. And we go back to that bunco party. The husband gets together and we go eat wings while they have the party. I went back and took a picture of those group of ladies. And probably 3 to 4 days later, she was gone. And I look at that picture sometime, and you never know when it's your turn. Astor Knight, I met him probably in the early 90s when the wife and I got involved in Rolling Oaks Civic Association. He lived right across the street from the barn that became the barn. I attended a few of his parties. It didn't matter when you saw Astor, whether at the fair, here at Town Hall, up in Tallahassee, as Bob mentioned, he always had a smile on his face and a hug. And Marie Nix, my wife knew Marie for a long time. You know how the husbands are. The wives all know each other. I was able to attend one of her affairs. I met her husband, Vern. We got to talking. You heard about the bridges that he builds. Vern and I worked together at the same company in 1973 at Post and Bridge and Iron. He was a young iron worker just getting started, and I was a young operator sitting that crane, bringing the steel up to it, tying it together. We got to talk, and we're probably 2 or 3 dozen big projects that him and I worked on back in the early 70s or so. It's a small world, just a small world. But my heart goes out to all 3 families. I want to say thank you to Debbie for last night. The Solid Waste Board put on a show last night. It's a Netflix. You can see it on Netflix, but they showed it here. Buy now, and it's called Shopping Conspiracy. After that was over, an hour and 20, hour and 30 minutes, I left here with a different perspective about buying. What they said and what they showed, that's what we've become. We've become a throwaway society. We've become so lazy that we pick up, push a button, order a pair of shoes, pair of jeans. Years ago, you'd go to the store, get in the car, go to the store, and do that same thing. Now, instead of buying 1 pair of shoes because you got in the car and had to go travel, now you buy 3 because you can push a button. I mean, it was amazing. And what I also saw was the amount of clothing. I'll just use clothing for an example. They send a lot of the garments that people collect. You see these places where they collect them down to Ghana. Ghana, I believe, just hypothetically has 3,000 people. There's 15 million pieces of clothing a week that's sent there. Now, there's no way in hell that those people can wear 15 million pieces of clothing a week, and this is going on. So what it ends up along their beaches. It ends up along their riverbanks. It ends up in their trash. There's no need for that kind of, waste. Our manufacturers here have us believing that winter, spring, summer, and fall, they all come out with a new line of clothing, and we have to have the latest stuff there is. When you see that, if you take the time to watch it, and if you take the time to watch the other one, We Are All Plastic People, you'll understand just how bad this earth is. We're in bad shape, and people just don't realize it, Just don't realize it. I do want to say that Russell and I were able to attend a drone demonstration today, which was quite interesting. The company came out, and what they have is a drone that the police department's using. They've introduced it to the fire department. And this drone, it lands itself. It does everything. It takes pictures, all this. It can talk to the people on the ground. It can give them commands. So instead of sending an officer into a hostage situation or a dog into a hostage situation, they can send the drone. The fire department, house is on fire, building on fire, fire department doesn't have to go in. They can send the drone in to find the people. It was absolutely an amazing demonstration that was put on. Very expensive because it's all brand new, but if it ever comes about, I think the public safety end of it just outweighs the cost by 10 times. And lastly, I'll talk about the school that Gary talked about. We have a few residents that live on Dyke Road. Dyke Road has no sidewalks. We don't want sidewalks in town. We have no street lights. There are no street lights on Dyke Road. Dyke Road is one of the few in town that has a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. I went over there the other morning to film a bus picking up the students on Dykes Road. As I was traveling on Dykes northbound, I left Sterling Road, my light turned green, I made a left-hand turn. That means the traffic that was on Dykes Road headed north was sitting at a red light. I got to the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. And before I got the half mile up the road to where the bus stop was, 2 cars went by me like I was backing up. So that speed limit's not 40, probably 60 or 70 for some people. It's dark out there. There's no sidewalks for the students to sit on, to stand, walk on. Now, where they meet the bus is a street. It's an intersection. So we're trying to find a way to either put up guardrails or put up a platform for them to stand on. I had a conversation with our representative, Ms. Rebecca Thompson. She's our school board rep. She'll be back in town Tuesday, along with Dr. Clowers. She'll be back in town Tuesday, and we're going to see if we can't set up a meeting to see if we can't make it a little bit safer for those that walk along that easement there. And it's a dip. It's I mean, if it's full of water, you got to walk in the street. That's all there is to it. See if we can't make it a little safer for those students to go to school. Don't know what we can do to slow down the traffic. We've talked about it. We're talking about it at our safety and traffic board meetings. We're trying to figure out a way to slow traffic down. But these are the things that we're working on. And if anybody's interested, I need another board member for the Safety and Traffic Board. We have 4 currently. I'd like to have 5. If anybody's interested out there, call me, let me know, talk to me. I'll explain what the board's about. We only meet 5, maybe 6 times a year. We get the work done, we present it to the council, and they either approve or disapprove what we do, but so far they've approved everything that we've asked them to do. So with that, if you have any questions or concerns, give me a call, and I'm done, Mayor. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. I've got a bunch of stuff. I'll try and go through it rapidly. First of all, appreciate Anna, and sorry I didn't catch your name, but appreciate you both coming out and alerting us to that. Just the short answer is I was unaware of all those things going on until you brought them up with FPNL. I know we're going to be taking a look at that. Great questions, and we'll be moving forward on that. So thank you for doing that. I want to talk a little bit. You know, we're talking through. I'm not sure where to start this conversation, but there's a lot of things like what Gary was talking about with businesses moving into town. Had conversations with individuals that live in different parts of town, wanting to have gates and things HOA related. There's a lot of things that are unique about the town of Southwest Ranches. And it's what makes us special. It's what's made us successful. If we did not protect from the beginning with Astor and the original council, if we did not protect the rural lifestyle, we would not be the town we are today. We would not be the desirable place to live that we are today. And there are inconveniences that go with that, but they're non-starters. They're what make us unique. And I'm certainly not asking anybody to move out of town. I don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But if there are certain things like that that are really important to you, you have all of South Florida to choose from. All of South Florida, except for this enclave in Southwest Ranches, that's a little different. And so that's what we're protecting, that's what we're saving. Once we lose it, we lose it. And the animal noises, I appreciate what you're saying. I know you're in a tough situation there, but that is part of who we are, and that's what we protect. And I'm sorry that it's created issues for you, but it is who we are and what we protect. And so one of the things that I'm trying to do, and I really hope we have a good group out for the Ranchers Academy, is I want people to understand before they move here who we are. I want them to understand from a code standpoint, from a lighting standpoint, from a sound standpoint, from a business standpoint, from all those different ways, who we are, so that people can make a wise decision that this is the place I want to be, or this is the place that's, that it's just not that it's good or bad, but it's just not right for us at this time. And so I hope that there's a good group out there for the Ranchers Academy. It's the 12th and the 19th of March. Be here, get a free pizza, come in and enjoy it. But I want to hear back on how it goes, and I want to hear back on feedback on how we can improve it. But I think it's really important to handle some of these things if we can up front. I hope there's a lot of realtors there that can understand what we're doing here and can communicate it to buyers. So that's coming up, and I hope we have a good group out there. I wanted to say a few words about the group that came up here earlier this evening for the Unity for Diversity 5K. What an awesome group, and what an awesome event, and those folks just give and give and give to the community. You know, I've heard over the last, not so much in the last couple of weeks, but when it first started coming out, some issues about the name having diversity in it. Unity and diversity is a fantastic name. It's you know, if you look on your currency, your dollar bills, it's e pluribus unum. You know what that is? That's unity and diversity. That means there's many of us coming together. And so so it's an awesome event. It's an awesome group. It's an awesome team. And I'm looking forward to having another successful year this year. Just really good stuff. I wanted to say a few words about, you all gave me the honor of being on the Solid Waste Authority for Broward County to talk about and discuss the future plans for what we're going to be doing with our waste for the next generation or so, next couple of generations. And it's been a great opportunity to work on that and to, by that group, be put on the executive committee that's really the working group to go through all this. And it's been very educational. We've learned a lot. And overall, I think the education piece for everybody that's been on there has been positive. But I do have a concern that at different times I felt like we were making great headway. Currently, I'm honestly a little concerned that that there is a little bit more of a feeling towards doing some sort of an incinerator, which is very disappointing. And no decisions have been made, but you know, you kind of get a feel for how the group is thinking, what the group think is, and it has not been as positive as it's been. We're still working on that. We're going to do everything we can to protect the town, obviously. And there's probably other locations in the county that would be the location for the incinerator before it came out here. But the point is that the incinerator is not the right solution. And there are better, more forward-thinking solutions than that. And so we're going to work very hard at that. And we're going to start working with the county commission as well because they get the final word. So I just wanted to bring that up to let you know. I'm always trying to keep you all in the loop on where we are when things are going well, when things are not going poorly. But I was a little more optimistic in the past than I am right now. I do want to thank the different folks. You've heard from some of them tonight, Debbie and Harold and the teams that they're working with, that we have some really committed people here in the ranches to doing the right thing for waste disposal. And we are a small town, but I got to tell you, we are mighty when it comes to the work that we do and the influence we have on this county on this issue. And we are by far the most active, the most proactive, the most involved group and municipality in Broward County. So kudos to you all, and thank you for all you do. So we're going to keep after it. I'm just going to keep working at it. One of the things, we had a presentation the last time we were here from Miramar and legislation that they're looking for. I just want you to know that that is a high priority to me at this point. From what I'm seeing now, I think that is one of our best tools. And that when we talk about our lobbyists and what we're doing, to me, that's number one at the very top of what we need to be pushing for. Let's see. I just want to say, I've said a lot about Red and Astor and Marie. They were all very good friends of mine as well. So certainly some of you, probably knew some of them better than I did, but they were all good friends of mine as well. This is a real loss to our town. These are fantastic people committed to who we are, and they leave a legacy. They may be gone, but they leave a legacy. Every one of them has brought things to this town that will live on well beyond their years. And we are a better town for having each of them here, and we will continue to be a better town. And the next generation will have a better place to live because of what they did. And so I'm thankful for them. My heart goes out to their families, and they were a blessing to all of us. The last thing I want to touch on is something that I'm a little disappointed in, and it was brought up tonight, and it has to do with the farmers market. Ever since I got on the council, which goes way back to 2006, one of my things that I wanted to do was to start a farmers market here. And I was not able to do that for a lot of different reasons. I won't go through all that, it doesn't matter, it just takes time. But at any rate, it wasn't until I was able to become mayor and really push for it that I was able to create the farmers market. And overall, I could not be more pleased with how it's going. We have great professionals. The CLE group has done an amazing job to come from a startup operation to the professional way that they run that market. And I want you to know, every 6 months, they give us a report on things that went well, things that they could improve on, and every 6 months, we're doing a reevaluation, and we're improving it, and we're doing better, and it gets better and better and better. We recently went to Saturdays and Sundays. You know, originally we stopped during the summer. They said, hey, I think we can do it. We can cut back some of the hours. We can do it over the summer. And you know what? They made it happen. Then they said, I think we can do Sundays. They made it happen. And so it has grown better and better. There's this feeling that we are subsidizing that farmers market. That is not true. They pay for the space that they do, and it's not huge dollars. Maybe it should be more, and I think that's part of what Tracy was talking about, that maybe it should be more. But we did, when we just redid the contract here recently, we did bump up what they're paying, so it's more than it's ever been. But they do pay us overall for the space, and they also pay, in addition to that, they pay for the porta potties that we have there. There's some things going around about the new bathrooms going out there, and it is a very expensive project. And but it's a lot more than just bathrooms. It's putting in a road out there. It's all the water facilities. It's the leveling the ground. There's a lot of groundwork. There is also a whole picnic area there that's undercover that's there. There's a lot to it, a lot more than just saying, hey, this is for bathrooms. We had, our consultant gave us estimates on what it would cost. We actually thought it was high. If you watch the video of when we discussed this, it came back 2 or 3 times. I think it came back 3 times because we were not 100% happy with what was there. So it certainly was questioned, and we tried to work the numbers as best we could. But it is what it is, and so we're looking forward to having that done. We still have challenges in getting that done, but I'm excited about it overall. It'll be great to get rid of the porta potties and have a permanent facility there to take care of that. And this is not only for the farmers market. This is for all the events that happen out there. So I want people to realize that this is much bigger than just the farmers market. But we'll look at it. We met with Ralph Bellman the other day, and I know, Tracy, I was hoping that you would be able to be there as well, but you were not. I would have liked to have had the conversation with you there as well. But we had a great conversation with Ralph. He brought up some great points. We took those back. As with anything, I'm not saying that the town always does everything perfectly right. You're never going to hear me say that. We can always improve, and I take this as a learning opportunity to improve and to do better and to see what we can do to improve it even more. So I appreciate Ralph saying that. I appreciate, Tracy, what you're saying. I take it all as positive feedback to do better, and that's what we intend to do. So with that, we will move on. Item number 9, please. No, I'm sorry. Legal comments.
Mayor, I'll try to be really brief.
Thank you.
My thoughts and prayers are with the families of the real founders of the town that we lost in the past few weeks. Of them, I was probably closest with Astor, worked with him side by side for countless years. He was soft-spoken, but he certainly carried a big stick. Councilmember Hartman mentioned it. He instilled the values of education in his children, who have all become successful individuals because of what he taught them. As it relates to, just because it was mentioned about the Kingston Zoo, one of the funniest stories that Astor used to tell me is that when he was younger, he was actually the curator of the Kingston Zoo. And he went to the DMV to get his driver's license, and they asked him where he lived, and he said the zoo. It didn't have a address in Jamaica, it was just the zoo, and they refused to give him a license, so he didn't drive for many years. I spoke to Astor probably 2 days before his passing. I know a lot of us did. And being a hospice nurse, as he was also in the second phase of his life, he was really at peace with his passing. And it was very refreshing to hear and to speak to him about that, especially, you know, he left the world actually knowing the impact that he had on it. And for that, you know, I'm grateful, you know, and to all of those who passed, may they rest in peace.
Thank you, Keith. Russell?
Thank you, Mayor. A lot has been said about the Nix family and the Goff family and the Knight family, and I'm just glad that I had an opportunity to meet those people. So may they rest in peace. Just a couple pieces of information and some business that I need to attend to. So there's a contract that we use with a company called Tower Pest Control for pest control services in Town Hall. We had an original agreement that was entered into in 2022 that's about to expire. It's not something that we needed to bring to council because the threshold was so low. But to exercise a extension of the agreement, we wanted to just kind of let you know that we wish to extend that at the same terms and conditions that it was originally agreed to. We pay them about, it's like $2,500 a year, but there's no provision in the current agreement that allows us to administratively extend that term. So I just wanted your approval to go ahead and extend it with no additional cost to the agreement, but just have your blessing to go ahead and extend that contract. So it would be easier for the record to find it later if it ever came up, so sure.
Okay, I make a motion that we extend the contract.
I'll second it.
And at that same time, if you don't mind, Councilmember Jablonski, to state that the town administrator may extend if necessary in the future.
And what he just said.
And I'll second what he just said.
Any questions, comments, concerns about that? Seeing none, any public comment on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski,
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman,
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, just a few other items. The household hazardous waste event that's scheduled for April 12th. That's part of our quarterly service that we have. We're going to need to move that or reschedule that because we have some conflicts that day. So we're working with the vendors to try to get it in early May, maybe the first weekend in May. So I'm just giving you the heads up. We tried to make that effort today to get a commitment on a new date in May. We were unable to get that because of just the time frame before the meeting, but I'll be reporting back when that will be, and we'll certainly promote it out there on social media and the website and everything else. So just wanted to put that out there. The Rancher Academy that was mentioned earlier by the mayor is taking place, as he said, March 12th and the 19th. We have a tile on the main page of the town website where if someone is interested in learning more about what the Rancher Academy is and what we hope to achieve with it, it's on there. We have it on the calendar now, and there's also a registration link. So if anyone is interested in registering for that, there is limited space. We're limiting it to 30 registrants. So the first 30 registrants, after that, it's going to be full. So we urge you to get on the website and register for it right away if you're interested in doing that.
And can we do after, let's give it like maybe 3 or 4 days, and then let's do an email blast for that if we can?
Absolutely. We'll continue to promote this until we get right up against it.
Thank you.
Yes. The next thing I wanted to mention was the Davie Civilian Police Academy begins March 4th. And for those of you that don't know what that is, basically it's an inside look at the operations of the Davie Police Department and the challenges that they face. You get a soup to nuts kind of orientation. It's an 8-week course. It costs $25. It's open to all Southwest Ranches residents, so we urge you to apply and register for that if it's something that you might be interested in. I know that our mayor has participated in this.
Fantastic. Yeah,
I've
no, it's a
registered
great,
and
great program.
I've registered, and I believe I have a member of the council that's also going to be registering. I won't name any names. Let's see, regarding the concerns raised about the FP&L undergrounding, I certainly will make efforts to contact our FP&L representative and have them kind of provide some additional information on that. Essentially, there's two different types of undergrounding process that they can use, and the resident brought that up. The one that they're referring to that they would prefer is the missile boring. We'll look at that, and we'll have them, if necessary, come out and maybe make a presentation to the council and reassure the residents which one is a safer option if there's any misconceptions about that. So I'll reach out to them and make sure that we get that information.
Good.
Okay. Yes, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the FP&L representative that we typically deal with, the one that's assigned to the ranches, is out of town for a little bit of vacation time, so it may take me a little bit of time to get that information coordinated.
Okay.
And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Russell. All right, item number 9, please.
Item number 9 is an ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, clarifying ordinance number 2024-002 by amending section 085-070 of the Town of Southwest Ranches Unified Land Development Code of Ordinances pertaining to the removal of illegal fill, providing for penalties, providing for inclusion in the town's code, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to table this if we could and send this back to the board. There's some questions that need to be asked and answered regarding
I agree.
the stipulation in that.
Yeah.
So, either the drainage board.
Good,
Or the drainage
good.
board.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. When I read this, that's what I was hoping we would go to because, yeah, let's just get it kind of all the kinks worked out of it and get a good plan that's comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Good.
So I make the motion.
Motion to table it. Is there a second to table?
Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Yeah, Mayor, the Drainage Board's been talking about this for probably 2 years now, and they haven't come up with a consensus yet. So, I'd like to hear, like you said, exactly what this means to them,
Good.
This is a big deal right here. This can hurt people, it can help people, but, we want to get it right the first time.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Why don't we wait until you come back?
yeah, that's fine. Do we need to, we don't need to say the date,
No,
set
no.
a date certain, do we?
Well, what Councilmember Jablonski said to me, I just want to make sure it's clear on the record, that he doesn't want them to have it forever. So he felt that by giving them a couple of months and
Yeah.
say when Mayor Bright Cruz comes back in
Yep.
April,
In May.
that the item could come back with the recommendation by that meeting.
Good, good. That'd be great. That would be great. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Mayor Bryce Cruz?
Yes,
Item tabled.
thank you. Item number 10, please.
Item 10 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, concerning the Broward County Mobility Advancements Program, Sheridan Street Capacity Expansion Project, opposing light pollution, requesting implementation of noise-reducing measures, and requesting the reallocation of funding from light poles to an improved turn lanes, and providing for an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on this item?
David, I had a conversation with Russell about this the other day. I think you're on absolutely the right track. If they say no, that they won't take the lights down, what I'd recommend as a fallback on that is Pembroke Pines has already put shields on the lights on Sheridan Street from the library all the way out west when they widened it back about 10, 15 years ago. So that might be a reasonable accommodation if they insist on putting the lights up that way. It'll keep the lights off of our resident property.
I have no problem with that whatsoever. The whole intent is to protect the residents of Sunshine Ranches on Old Sheridan.
Yep, yep.
And so the folks that are here kind of know, MAP Broward is a program for resurfacing streets. We've already spent our money and we've already had the projects done back, I think, 2021, 22. They're finally getting over to it in Pembroke Pines, so I think we work a little faster. Anyway, they're 6-laning Sheridan from Flamingo to Volunteer. One of the issues that I brought up when it was first brought up back in 2000 when I was first elected, part of this plan was to put a left turn lane on Sheridan as you're going eastbound, right at Volunteer, which would avoid that U-turn. Residents of Sunshine Ranches spoke up, and they voted unanimously to say no to that because the additional traffic on Volunteer would be too much. So we won that battle, but we still have the issue with the 6 lanes going on. And one of the proposals includes putting streetlights on the north side of the 6-lane Sheridan. And I got calls from folks on Old Sheridan, and they're really troubled by that. So that was part of this. The other issue, and this is the one that just boggles my mind, is they proposed putting in a 10-foot sidewalk on the north side of Sheridan. And I'm saying, who's going to even use that? Because there's no homes there. There's no access there. It's just isolated, and it's growing. They actually put in a buffer for the wetlands there for MacArthur School. When they built, they actually put in the wetlands there because they had to do the mitigation. Anyway, so I proposed that, you know what, and I left a message with the folks at Map Broward. I said, instead of spending the money on a 10-foot sidewalk and all the planning that goes along with that, why don't they use that money more in a better use to fix the traffic situation? If you're going eastbound and you're at Flamingo Road on Sheridan, that traffic backs up really, really bad. That's something that they should really work on instead of a sidewalk. So that's part of this. So I'm hoping they will listen to that, and that's kind of why I brought this forward.
Yeah, David, I just want to call you out and thank you for your work you've done on this. You were on top of it from day one, and to the residents out there, we understand this is not what the Ranches is about, and we are fully committed to doing everything we can to make sure that this doesn't negatively impact us. I see there's some residents here. Let me open it up for the public. If somebody would like to speak on this item. Yeah, just come on up.
Thank you. Alan Perlman, Deborah Perlman, 13001 Old Sheridan. Been there for about 27 years. We love the Ranches. Thank you for your service. Quick question before I come back to me. Is it my understanding that in addition to mitigating the lights, that there was also a directive that they put a wall up?
Why don't you ask your questions, and then we will address them.
Okay. Well, I think that that's a excellent idea, but I think it's a secondary position. I think the first position, consistent with everything I've heard today, is to protect the lifestyle of the neighbors on Old Sheridan. I see one of my good neighbors, Dr. John Weiser, in attendance as well. If what I heard is true thus far, sitting here tonight, I feel as if I already have a majority vote affirming opposition to the 6-lane highway. I say that because you talked about the peaceful enjoyment of the homes and stopping trucks from, driving freely in the area. You talked about keeping the sound correctly. You talked about not letting it get into bad shape. You talked about the speed. You talked about the traffic, David. And you as well, Bob, talked about all these things. All of that is at issue with every single resident on Old Sheridan all day, every day. Now, without any notification whatsoever, they went ahead and took some of the hedges off on Sheridan on the north side. I could tell you, walking on Old Sheridan, you can already see cars. You can already see cars that used to be blocked. I can tell you, living there for 27 years, that you hear the traffic. I forget which one of you was talking about the speeding on Dykes. It's worse on Sheridan. When a motorcycle or these cars go by, they're way north of 75. You're outside, you hear it. And as much as we love that federal protected wetland, I think you all know as adults that sound travels over water, so it's magnified before it comes across our backyards. So, we have a big issue with the peaceful enjoyment of our homes as residents of Southwest Ranches. And it's gotten to the point where, and I think you alluded to this as well, this project makes no sense. There is a sidewalk to nowhere for nobody. And what's interesting is we did get a flyer. The residents of Old Sheridan got a flyer. We came out in force. I would tell you that every single one of my neighbors was at the last meeting. It was at Miramar, and it was conducted by MAP. And wouldn't you know it, there were 2 engineers in the audience that lived in the development on the south side, and they both said something that was eye-opening and convincing, and I don't believe anyone there from Broward County challenged it, and that was, you don't need to do all this. The chokehold is the turning lanes. The turning lane onto Flamingo, the turning lane into their development. That runway needs to be lengthened. And they were working off old data in terms of their surveys, nothing new. And the information that they published, I have a copy with me today, they acknowledged that after all this is done, it's only going to make an improvement of 35% in peak rush hour. That's an F. We shouldn't put up with that abuse for an F. Even if it was an A, I would be standing here saying the same thing, but it makes 0 sense by their own admissions. This can't go on. We contacted the city. We are asking for support in the form of formal opposition. If we lose that fight, at a minimum, there needs to be a wall, at a minimum. Because you can imagine you're concerned about dikes? Picture 6 lanes on your backyard with the noise carrying over the water. That's not anything remotely close to what the ranches stand for. And so it's tough to get the whole neighborhood out at the same time. This is a long meeting. I appreciate your service. But I am telling you that I am speaking 100% on behalf of every single neighbor on Old Sheridan running from, is it Appaloosa? Yeah, Appaloosa all the way down west. And we can't do this alone.
Right.
I think, Steve, you commented about the warrior status of influence and power that you're using with respect to waste management or the incinerator or both. That's what we need now. We need a group of you to roll up your sleeves, hike on over there, and tell them this makes no sense. Our residents won't stand for it. We as representatives will not permit it, and they need to take this ridiculous idea elsewhere. A 6-lane highway is just too much. I don't think we're being unreasonable. I don't think my neighbors and I are asking for too much. In the 27 years here, I've come here once, and that was to get a permit for our middle son's wedding a couple years ago. And so we love the ranches.
We appreciate what you're saying. I think everybody up here, I know you're for myself, but I believe I can speak for the whole council that what you're saying, we agree with you. We're there for you. David has already taken a lead on this, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that this is not done.
Okay, and to my
Or if it's done in a way that, that the road stays small, and we focus on the things that are really going to make a difference, like you said, the turning lanes. So
Right.
I need to cut you off just
Sure,
because I can't.
I'm just leaving you with my question of Plan B, so I'm clear if it would be suggesting, if all that loses, if there will be a wall as a last-ditch effort.
We can definitely look into that. Obviously, we're going to work on Plan A first.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Based on what I hear about the animals, I know that Southwest ranches allow the animals, but the roosters,
This is not the topic that we're talking about here. Are you talking about the
Yeah,
growth of Sheridan Road?
I'm talking about the roosters.
Yeah, no, that topic we've already spoken on that.
So I would like to see what the town can do for that, please.
Please sit down, but I will say this. I think you've heard, and I when we spoke on the phone, I told you, please sit down, that animal sounds are part of who the ranches are. And I apologize that, that it's disrupting you the way it is, but it gets to the core of who we are in the ranches, and I just don't think that there's any appetite in any way to change that. And I know that's an issue for you, and I apologize that we can't meet that issue with you, but that's who we are in the ranches. Anybody? Yes, please.
John Weiser, Old Sheridan Street, been here 31 years. I think Alan did a great job explaining our position. I just want to say this. You're taking on a big fight for the incinerator. You're going against the state, you're going against the county, you're going against municipalities, you even got Washington involved to some degree. If you can't stop a 6-lane widening, I don't think you'll ever be able to stop an incinerator with all that power against you. So please take the wins where you can get them. This is what we need for the people right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, public comment closed. Yeah, both of those are not easy. Okay, they're two different fights with two different groups, two different elements, and our goal is to win them both.
Okay, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Mr. Perlman brought up something that is not reflected in here, and I don't know, I'd like to get the sentiments of the council on this. He actually asked us to oppose this. That's not listed in here. And,
We need to do that.
okay, I want to see other, Gary?
So what I like to do, what I'm trying to, this is just my experience working with the county and whatever. If we just say no, the county's going to. My experience says they're going to ignore us.
Of course.
If we come back with focusing, like you said, on the turn lanes and things that are really going to make a difference. So we're not saying no, we're saying that you're wasting money on the sidewalk, not needed, it's in the wrong place, don't throw that money away. Put that money into turn lanes so that we solve the major issue, extend them, do what we need to do. Then we're kind of on their team so that we're not opposing, but we save the issue from being disruptive to your community. I hope that makes sense. Like I say, I mean, we can just say a letter that says no, but I'm telling you that that's going to go nowhere. It's just the reality of it.
These MAP projects are MPO projects.
Yep.
We need to get Greg Stewart on the line. He is the executive director and express to him our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Russell, maybe we can set something up to talk with him in the next day or two or three to express our concerns about, A, the need for this, for basically going for a large project where it sounds like some lane extensions are what are necessary, and see if we can't get some minds changed on this.
Okay. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a good idea. But you work with the MPO. The MPO rarely says no. They just say, oh, okay, not now. It gets the project bumped down 5 years, and then the battle starts over again. So
Do the best we can.
I know, and I'm not criticizing.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is, if we can make it so that the plan is palatable
Right.
for us.
I'm not saying stop the project.
You
What
know,
I'm suggesting
then-
is
yeah,
let's see
then-
lanes and not spend all this money.
Yeah, I don't normally open it up again, but I want to hear what you have to say about that.
Sure. In terms of, I like the horse trade idea. I get it. That's the way the world works, and it makes total sense. So the turning lanes, that should be a win-win. Even if they feel obligated, and they sort of touched on this at the presentation, that they really, really, really want that sidewalk, maybe let them do the sidewalk. I don't know, because that's not noise, that's not 6 lanes.
Correct.
That's a win. So in
Correct.
terms of horse trading, if I was involved, that would be something that I would put on the table to give them the victory, if you will.
Good to know.
Because I get it, you can't say no.
Good, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I make two legal suggestions?
sure.
I think you could actually accomplish what the residents are looking for and the council's looking for by just rewording the resolution slightly. I would suggest, and I don't think it comes off harshly to the county, if you say, resolution, et cetera, questioning the necessity of the project, and then say requesting that if this project is implemented, that we do all these items, and then I would include in the items the installation of a sound barrier wall.
Gotcha.
And-
So,
I agree with that. I think it's
Yeah.
a very, very good idea.
yep. So is that something that we can vote on in?
You can vote on,
in
and then
kind of-
Russell and I will fix the language. I think
Okay.
90% of the issues that you're hearing is just the wording of this resolution, which is easily fixable.
Gotcha, okay.
It's saying that if they do, we're saying questioning the need for the project. At that point, we're going to make the statement that, extend the lanes, the turn lanes, rather than doing the entire roadway. But if this project does go forward, we want no lights, no sidewalks, and a sound wall to protect the community. Now, the doctor's saying he doesn't want a sound wall, so. No, I'm not saying as first blush at all. Okay.
All right, so I honestly,
Will basically put a kibosh on the, sound wall's $15 million a mile, and we're talking about a 2-mile project.
It definitely depends on the height, though, because they've done,
Talking about an
yes,
FDOT sound wall.
right, they've done much shorter ones for similar roadways.
All right, $7.5 million.
Is what it is.
Still $15 million.
All right.
So that's
Yeah.
more than the project value.
Well, like a 15-foot wood instead of a.
all right, so what we'll do is we will rework this. Before we actually publish it, David, please take a look at it, make sure, in conversations with the residents that we're comfortable with it, and we'll tweak it, and this is actually good because it helps us to understand how we're going to fight this. It kind of gets our strategy put together. So thank you all for coming out.
Are we tabling this?
No, I wouldn't recommend that because you'd cost yourself another month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
so we're going to vote on it, but
As amended.
we'll work out the details and.
resolution,
and
it's not an ordinance.
confirm it with the residents.
Right, and what I would suggest is, as we've done with other items, we will work directly with Councilmember Kozinski on finalizing the language, send it to you individually, and if individually you have a change or a comment, please let us know directly. Perfect. And so that we can clean it up.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, Keith.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, folks.
All right. Any other comments from the council? Seeing none, if we please call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very good. Item number 11, please.
Item number 11 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, adopting the investment policy in substantially the same form as attached here to in Exhibit A, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion on this
Motion
item?
approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item?
I have a question or two
Yeah.
for Emile. Emile, when I go through the permitted, first off, excellent job on this. We talked about this a couple of months ago, and I couldn't wait to see it, and I read it twice. It's an interesting document, and I totally think this is a great idea for when we just are swimming in cash and need to invest it all. But in any case, when I go through the permitted investments, I don't see, equities. I don't see stock.
That is good evening, and thank you, Vice Mayor.
Why?
It's intentional. The main objective of the policy, just to begin with, this policy is driven by Florida statutes. So that's actually 218. And most of the language that is added and incorporated is because of that same reason. On the permitted investment, the policy that we previously had, which was adopted over 20 plus years ago, was only contemplating 3 investments. This one actually is more inclusive, but at the same time is bringing up safeguard investments, provide liquidity, and at the same time availability of the funds when they're needed. To your specific question, is to guarantee the safety nets of the principal, which is the surplus of the funds for the town.
Legally, the municipality can't invest in a speculative venture, and because stocks can go up and down,
Sure.
that's why it's prohibited.
Okay, good. I like the list that's here. I mean, they're all strong investments, particularly the municipals, but we don't get the tax benefit. Oh, well.
Yes.
Awesome. Any other comments, questions from the council? Seeing none, any public comment on this item?
Should have known this was coming. New Hollingsworth, 199th Avenue. Line 3 of number 11. Investment policy in a substantially the same form as attached. I read the attachment. Where is substantially different than the attachment? Or how's it going to change? Because your header says substantially the same form. But it's a whole lot of squiggly on the side, as far as I'm concerned. So can someone please explain what substantially means in this context?
Thank you, Newell. Any other public comment? Seeing none. Emil, it's in your court, man.
I can answer
It's
it.
it's a terminology. So
It's a legal terminology saying is 99% as attached as Exhibit A, because then if Emil had to make a minor modification because he found a typo or something of that nature, it could be amended as of right.
Okay,
So
great. So the intention is to follow exactly what's in there, but maybe some.
And to your Noel's point, there is a section in the policy which actually requires modifications that should be brought forward to council.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions from council?
Here for no derivatives.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
probably by law too, right? I hope at least.
I hope so. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski.
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman,
Yes, and
Great,
great
right?
job again.
Mayor Bright Cruz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item number 12, please.
Item 12 is the resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving a lease agreement and a maintenance contract with Toshiba America Business Solutions Incorporated for 3 copier printer scanners, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on this item. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, is there any public discussion on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Kaczynski.
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton.
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman.
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest
Thanks,
of the week.
folks.